Bright lights, big cities, the flow of people, the excitement of being where the action is, or maybe not. What's up, everyone? I'm Chris James, filling in for Carl Azuz, who's on a much-needed vacation. But rest assured, he will be back next week. So let's get to it. Now, I live in Brooklyn, which makes sense for me in my life. I love living in New York City, and when I used to go into the office, I was pretty close by. But with the coronavirus pandemic, we've seen a major shift to people working from home. It's had a major impact on the economy, the education system, and even sports. But now it's also starting to affect where people want to live. Are people still flocking to cities despite social distancing restrictions? Or are they starting to realize they might not have to spend as much money on rent and could instead move out to the suburbs and build themselves a nice home office? As you might be able to tell, I'm still working on getting mine set up. So the question remains, stick with the city or pack up and move? CNN's Phil Black breaks it down for us from London.
In a time not that long ago, vast numbers of people migrated into central London every working day. Now, they're mostly gone. Their towering offices loom empty without purpose. Streets famous for crowds, traffic, noise, energy are quiet and a bit sad.
Miss it. Doesn't feel right. The atmosphere's not here. Vibe isn't here.
COVID-19, working from home, endless uncertainty have all teamed up to silence one of the world's most vibrant cities. When office workers stay away, those who rely on them suffer. This once heaving street market is now just a quiet street. Stall owner Richie Wicks thinks it's going to get worse as the pandemic's economic pain bites harder.
There'll be tumbleweed running through here. It'll be like a ghost town.
The property industry reports people aren't just avoiding central London. COVID-19 has triggered huge interest in leaving that skyline behind and moving away for all the things London can't easily provide. Space, gardens, affordability.
We thought we were going to stay for probably another 2 years, but I think the pandemic kind of accelerated our decision to move now.
After months of working from home, Michael and Agatha have decided to quit London because, well, why not? How Londoners respond to COVID-19 could reshape the city's social and economic fabric, but not for the first time, and not as remarkably as the change inflicted by that other notorious source of multiple pandemics, the plague. London's last big outbreak in the 1600s killed an estimated 100,000 people, almost a quarter of the city's population. The Great Plague, Great Fires, Nazi bombs, extreme crime and poverty. London's long history is a timeline of extraordinary violence, disease and suffering. That long sweep of history tells us when Londoners can afford to flee danger and hardship, they often do. But the city's current wealth and status also proves they usually come back.
These things happen when it has to adjust to reassert its economic power every time before it has done it. And I don't think this is the one occasion when the whole world, because it wouldn't just be London, would it, changes to a less urban and less urbanised form of existence.
London, in the time of COVID-19, is a much diminished city. Its story so far suggests it will recover, but many lives and livelihoods will be dramatically altered before it does. Phil Black, CNN, London.
All right, time for some 10-second trivia. When was the last time Major League Baseball's World Series wasn't played? 1908, 1967, 2004, or 1994? 1994. It was canceled due to a players' strike. Only the second time since 1903 it hadn't been played. Right now, baseball fans are hoping they won't have another season without a World Series. Major League Baseball decided not to do an NBA-style bubble setup for their teams. And now a total of 21 games have already been postponed due to positive COVID-19 tests. First, the Marlins had a big outbreak, then the Phillies had some positive cases, and on Monday it was announced that 7 St. Louis Cardinal players and 6 staffers tested positive for COVID-19 in the past week. And as a result, the team's 4-game series against the Tigers in Detroit had to be postponed. According to ESPN, MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred warned the shortened season could be shut down entirely if the league and players don't improve their management of the virus. Here's hoping it won't come to that. The first day of school is normally a fun occasion. You know, you wear your best new outfit, show off those fresh kicks you got over the summer, a morning bus ride full of laughs with friends you haven't seen in months. But this year, it all looks a bit different. There is so much uncertainty about in-person schooling, and instead of showing off new shoes, you might be comparing masks. The debate on how to educate has become one of the key talking points during the COVID-19 pandemic. Gary Tuckman has more.
Nereida Jaimes isn't sure if sending her son back to school is a good idea. But 11-year-old Christopher says he's ready to start 6th grade, and to do it in person. So when the school bus arrived here in the small Georgia town of Jefferson, he boarded with his books on his back and his mask on his face, and prepared to start his middle school career in this most unusual of times.
¿Tú eres triste ahora? Are you sad?
Sí, estoy triste.
Christopher's mother tells me, yes, I am sad and worried about my son going to school. As the bus pulls away, there is at least one student not on it, Christopher's sister, Shirelli. She was going to start 8th grade, but at the last minute was too frightened to go. Just up the road, at the high school, students gathering and hugging like they would any year on the first day. Many of them wearing masks, but just as many, if not more, not wearing any face coverings. At the elementary school, parents dropping off their children, most of whom seem to have masks, but not all. Fact is, while masks are mandated on the district's school buses for students and drivers, there is no mandate for mask wearing in the actual schools for students or teachers. The Jefferson City Board of Education has many guidelines in place designed to keep the students safer, and masks are handed out. But actually wearing them is not required, only strongly recommended. We talked to high school seniors Hope Terhune and Riley Meadows before they returned to school.
I'm ready to be back in-person learning, but it is kind of scary not knowing what it's really going to be like.
I think I would feel better about it if we had stronger mandations in our school system to keep us safe.
Yeah, me too.
So they started an online petition asking their Board of Education to mandate masks. In response to that petition, sophomore Brett Kelly started his own, with the support of his older high school sister and his father. His petition declaring mask wearing should be a choice.
I think it's a freedom issue because it's slowly taking our rights away.
And your right not to wear a mask?
Yes, sir.
The district superintendent did not want to talk on camera, but Donna McMullen told us in a written statement they are confident in their plans. And regarding masks, we are following the guidelines established by the CDC and Georgia Department of Public Health in recommending the use of face coverings as one effective measure to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. Meanwhile, Yolanda Payne is not going to let her 4th grade son go back to school right now. They are part of the roughly 5% of Jefferson school families who have chosen to learn remotely. She says her father passed away from COVID 2 months ago, and her son Josh has asthma.
I can't take the risk of sending him back to school and getting COVID.
A worrisome school year now beginning. Gary Tuckman, CNN, Jefferson, Georgia.
All right, let me ask you this. What would you think about going to a museum to see some cool artifacts from ancient Greece? Okay, now how about going to that museum underwater? You can now explore a 2,500-year-old shipwreck at the bottom of the sea floor. Greece opened up its first underwater museum off the coast of Alenesis, where you can put on some scuba gear and get exploring. And if going underwater isn't your thing, you can also scope it out using virtual reality. Gosh, I've always wondered what it's like living under the sea. Anyone else suddenly get the SpongeBob theme stuck in your head? Just me? All right, anyway, I want to thank Carl so much for letting me fill in for him. I'm Chris James, and I'll be seeing you right back here tomorrow. Told you, I'm still working on these puns. Carl, you really make this look easy.